Hey y'all, Grandma Rose here. I haven't done a pretty flower video in a while, and I wanted to show you this. Now I have 2 or 3 different ones to show you. So I'm going to start with this flower right here. It's a small tree. I know most of you who live in the South recognize this, but if you live other parts of the country, you might not recognize it. This is a Crepe Myrtle, and I don't know what variety this one is. It's pink, that's all I know. This one came with the house. This Crepe Myrtle was already here when I moved in the house almost 11 years ago. Really pretty. Let me get close. I did a still shot of this the other day on Instagram and thought this is a good, while there's still flowers on it, a good opportunity to show some up relatively close. These are not as pretty as they were the day that I almost ran into them. But here, right here at my chest level, are some Crepe Myrtle flowers that are starting to dry up a little bit, but you can still see what they look like. Look, aren't they pretty? This right here, this whole one thing, this right here, is the flower. See that? So here's the stamen and the stamens and the pistil and all that. These are the petals. So it has what 5 petals? There's another one behind it that's dried. So I'll get that one off. And here's some that just fell off in my hand. So that's what, when you see this cluster, you can't really see. They just a cluster of flowers. But this is what they really look like. There is a single flower right there. It's just that the petals are on long, slender, almost like filaments around this central part of it. So this is called a Crepe Myrtle. Don't know what variety this one is. It's just a really pretty pink one, and makes a small tree. Up there, I don't know how tall that is. Maybe 20 feet. Maybe. Multi-trunk. It can be trained. It can be trained to a single trunk, like a tree. And some people, you see them where they cut them off low. Let me walk up to it and you can see what I'm talking about. They'll cut them off like so or so. There's a rooster. And what happens, and then it causes them to branch out all at one spot. They do flower on new growth. So when you cut them off like that, it causes them to put out a whole lot of new show. Silly roosters. There's the chickens over there. That dark one in the middle. Now there's another one. Doesn't matter. These are my beautiful roosters, and I love them. I think they're having a crowing match. I don't know what I was saying. Oh. Some people will cut the Crepe Myrtles off like that. I particularly don't like it, but that's my opinion. If it's your plant, you can print it however you want to print it. It causes weak growth and makes it more susceptible to storm damage and things like that. This is its natural form into a small tree, and I like this much better than the kind that you see in parking lots. In the mall, in the grocery store, where people have planted these in the parking lot, and of course they can't let it get big like this. Back up. Back here, let you see a little bit, get some kind of idea of how tall this is. Okay, here is my house. There's the roof of my house right there. You come over here, and there's the Crepe Myrtle right there. See that? So it's taller than my house. So that means it's taller than 20 feet. We're down to there. There's pretty pink flowers up there at the top. It's a specimen tree. This is not something that you would put in the middle of your yard as a shade tree. But it's a specimen tree. And the way I feel about things is you should be careful where you plant them. Know how tall they're going to get before you plant them. And don't plant them someplace where you have to keep them cut down. This shrub right here, it had pretty white flowers on it in the spring. But there are things. There's a phlox. There's a different phlox. I've shown other phlox in other videos. This is a wild phlox. I suppose it's wild. I didn't plant it. And it's coming up here. This is poison ivy and all kinds of other stuff right in here. And I see the poison ivy, and maybe you do too. But it's just a bright pink phlox. I like that one. Let's walk over and see the other Crepe Myrtle. I have two others. And I have a rock in my shoe, so let me stop. Take it off and put it back on again. We have chickens following us. Right here behind me. Here's the chickens. And that pretty rooster right there, I haven't heard crow yet, but he's a beauty. I love my chickens. Okay, I'm going to walk over to the other two Crepe Myrtles that I have. And here's my front doors right there. You might recognize, well, yes and no. I say you might recognize. Since I took the picture that is my channel art, that it has a picture of my front porch with that little flag and my swing. We've added the rails for the steps, so that looks a little bit different because the rails for the steps weren't there. So it looks different, but this is the front of my house. And in that picture, in my channel art, you'll see a lot of foliage to the left of the picture. Well, that's this Crepe Myrtle tree right here. So here it is. There again is the house. And you see how tall it is. It's a good sized little tree, but it is a small tree. It's not going to get a whole lot bigger than that. As I talk here, that tree is, I planted that the first spring I moved here. So it's been here 10 years. It was just a new plant from the nursery when I bought it 10 years ago. And this is a white Crepe Myrtle, and I do know the name of this one. The variety name of this is Natchez, like Natchez, Mississippi. But actually, a lot of them are named after Native American tribes. So this is the Natchez Indians, and that's what this is named after. And one thing about this gorgeous Natchez, and the other ones I think have the bark that does this, but the bark on this tree is particularly pretty because the underbark is this kind of a cinnamon color. In the winter you can see it more so than now. But the way it peels off, let me get closer to it. Find a better area to come in and walk close to it. Walk around here. There we go. Walk up to it. There you can see. See how it does? See how it splits? It splits and peels off, sort of like a birch tree. Like birch bark, sort of. It's called exfoliating. Well, like you do with your skin. You know, you exfoliate your skin to make it look younger. Well, this is called exfoliating bark. And that's what it does. It peels off like this. And underneath it is this really pretty cinnamon color new bark underneath it. So in the wintertime, while this tree isn't blooming and it isn't pretty because of the flowers on it, it gives interest in the winter because of the pretty shape of it and the pretty bark on it. And that's one reason why I don't want to cut this down and to leave the stumps up there, even though the flowers would be beautiful. I like the shape of the tree itself. It's just a beautiful tree, and I planted it here simply because it's architectural interest. You don't think about architectural interest, you think about your house. But it's also the trees and the shrubs around your house that gives it interest, and it gives it bones. In the wintertime, you're not seeing the pretty flowers and things, but what you do see are the shrubs and the plants that you have planted around it, particularly evergreens and other shrubs that are woody plants that stay alive and at least have their shape during the winter, even if they're covered up with snow. So back over here, on the other side in the field, okay, there's my little garden over there. And then back over here, right here is the back side of my birdhouse. Here's the corner of my fence. Let's walk over there. There's a good bit of work that needs to be done. A lot of the trimming that we did earlier in the spring, the trees that were cut down are coming back, and they need some serious work again, but right now it's too hot, and I'm not going to do it right now. And one thing I'm concerned about, I need to get somebody with a tractor, because I have these, when I started cutting down all these trees around here, I intended to move these out into the middle and burn them. I'm not going to burn these underneath this big oak tree right here. I don't want to catch the oak tree on fire. So I've got this little pile of sticks here, and then over there on the other side of the trunk of that tree, there's another pile of branches and sticks. And the man who mows my yard was on his mower the other day, and he watched a copperhead crawl out from under there, going toward that tree line over there. He waited for it to get in the middle, and he ran over it. Well, immediately the chickens came over, and they drug it back to the chicken yard. So that copperhead became a feast for the chickens. But that makes, I know then that there could be, if there was one snake in that pile right there, there's probably more than one snake in that pile right there, and that makes me a little concerned, more than a little concerned. But that's not what this video is about. I'm just worried about snakes, and I am out here in flip-flops. So, I'm going to pass by this, concerned that there could be some in this pile of sticks right here too, even though it's smaller. You know, be aware, be wary. Walk over here into the sunshine. And what have these trees here? This is a plum. It's a wild plum. Another one right here that the main trunk, the guy was a little too eager with the weed eater and actually skinned the bark on that main trunk, but it's come back from the roots. So it's a wild plum. It'll be fine. And instead of having one branch, it'll have two. Trunk. And more things here. This right here, the plant that's coming up there is a China berry, and I cut it all the way to the ground this spring, and it has grown up 15 feet tall, 10, 15 feet tall, easy. Got to get back. Those are weed trees. And this right here, this clump of trees, that's my pecan tree that I cut down. It is just, show you here. See this? It's just coming off the stump. So I need to get back out here and get those off before they get too big. You know, this, like we said, there's always something that has to be done. But I wanted to show you this beautiful, beautiful crepe myrtle. This color is called watermelon red. And look at this, isn't it beautiful? I mentioned having gone to plant swaps and things. Look at this. Isn't that just amazing? It's just gorgeous. I come back around here, and the sun it's pretty much mid-afternoon. Sun's pretty bright high in the sky, and this might not be the best time of day to be showing you this. But this is the time of day that I thought about it. Back over in there. And then back over this way. It's so pretty. And this is right about, this limb, you know, it's kind of not real strong, so it is leaning over this direction. So it's about, 5.5, 6 feet off the ground right here where the blooms are. This is a young tree. I don't know how tall it is. It's about as tall as the other one. It's just not as branched as the other one is. And I got this one at a plant swap. I went up into Middle Tennessee the first spring after I moved here. I had been, does anybody remember a website called Garden Web? I think it's still active, but it's not. It still exists, but it's not active like it used to be. So if anybody remembers Garden Web, the different areas, different states, different people had groups, regional groups on Garden Web. And there was a very active Tennessee gardeners group on Garden Web, and I was active in the group. and twice a year we would have a plant swap. You know, Tennessee is a long, narrow state, and we would have the plant swap would be in central Tennessee, somewhere in the Nashville area, or maybe just a little bit south of Nashville. So those of us who lived in West Tennessee, and I lived in Memphis, would come over from the west, and those of us who lived in East Tennessee, in the Knoxville and Chattanooga area, would drive east from their areas, and we would all meet in central Tennessee and have a plant swap. So that's where I got this. The year after I moved here, I had been active in the Tennessee Gardeners on Garden Web for several years, and knew that they would have the plant swap. I had things to swap, and I needed things for this property. So I got this little Crepe Myrtle. It was just a little, it was either a seedling or it was a rooted cutting or something, and got it at that plant swap 10 years ago, just a little bit more than 10 years ago. And here it is, way 15 feet tall at least. And what you're seeing right here, sweet gum. There was a sweet gum tree in there that got cut down this spring. That little sweet gum has come back up from the stump too. That needs to be cut down. But yeah, this is just a pretty area right over here. It's my picnic table. So I've got a picnic table in the shady area right over here. I don't think I've shown you that before. But anyway, I wanted to show you Crepe Myrtles while they're in beautiful bloom and while I was thinking about them. And like I said, I haven't done any pretty flower videos in a while, in a couple of weeks now, and I thought it was about time I showed you some more pretty flowers. The garden is so-so, not doing great, but it is producing enough food for me to eat. There's not really a whole lot to show you in the garden right now. So instead, I'm showing you pretty flowers. Now the sun is behind a cloud, and I think you can see this better now without the sun, the bright sun and the bright shadows cast by this from the sun. Really, really, really pretty. Let me back up. I'm going to back up in the other direction. Here we go. Let's see here. And there he goes. That's pretty tall, huh? Now that pile of stuff right there is going to be burned. But I'm waiting for fall. This is not the best time. The best time to burn this is going to be in the fall. It's not mature enough yet. Don't want to burn it when it's green. Now right here on this side of this Crepe Myrtle, this is the little mulberry I planted last year. It's doing really well. It was about 4 feet tall, almost 5 feet tall now. And it was a little thing last year. That's going to be pretty. And I have another one over here on the other side. You can see through there and see the chairs. Right by that chair with the, if you look closely and look at it, there's a chair that has some wood blocks on it. Right next to that, behind it, is another mulberry tree. So this is going to be really nice and shady when these two mulberries grow up. Now all of this stuff is making this area back in here very secluded. Not generally. This right here, if you have watched earlier, some of my earlier videos, I did a video about poison ivy. And this right here is that tree stump that the poison ivy was growing on. And look how changed it is because these shoots have grown back up. Look at this. See this? That is that tree stump that I showed the poison ivy on earlier in the year. So yeah, there's lots of work that needs to be done there. Look at this. A lot of these are grapes. These are muscadine grapes, or wild grapes anyway. Don't see any grapes on it. But if I keep these grapes growing here, maybe next year I will have grapes on it. That would be nice. So there we go. Look at that. Beautiful watermelon red Crepe Myrtle. And over here on this side, there's my little garden. And on this side of the house, there's that Natchez Crepe Myrtle. Beautiful bees working on that. I'll show you that in just a second. But yeah, this is just, I love living in the country so much. Walking over here, there's my crepe myrtle tree. You see the big crepe myrtle? There's a big Natchez crepe myrtle up here. Well, there's a branch that's hanging down right here by my kitchen window. Let me walk over here. Look at that. And look at all the bees. Isn't that something? And all of those bees. There we go. What the flowers look like. Look at them. There's still some buds left to open. There's some more up in here. Right in there. That's how you generally see them. Not like this. All laying over and all together, but this one is gorgeous and I love it. Yep, it is midsummer. It is mid-July. Right in the middle of July. And hot. July is our hottest month. August is hot too, but I think July is the hottest month. Toward the end of August, things start to cool down a little bit. So yep, my front yard is mostly flowers. Well, I guess mostly is not right. It is all flowers. I don't think I have any vegetables at all growing in the front. Unless you count the daylilies. Daylilies are edible. Let me show you. I want to show you this post right here. Just sloping. Oh, what, 30-degree angle? I don't know what the angle on that is. Pretty good slope on it. Maybe even 45 degrees. Yep. We tried to stand it back up again. You can see rebar and other posts and stuff in there. It's going to have to come out. But down in here, if you can see, I don't know if that's dead. Yeah, that's a dead wasp. Right in there is a dead wasp. They are nesting in that hole. See that hole in the pipe? There's a wasp nest in there. And a lady came by asking about a neighbor. She actually owns the house next door to me that no one's living in. But she was standing right here where I'm standing, and one of these wasps flew out and stung her in the face. So that was a bad thing. I had no idea there was a wasp nest in there. So I went in. Well, first of all, the first thing I did was I looked down here on the ground. And I looked around and looked around. And I found this. See that? That's plantain. And here's more plantain. And some more plantain. And even more plantain. So I reached down and I picked a leaf off the plantain and I told her to put it in her mouth and chew it and make a poultice. You know, she wanted it to be a green gooey mess. And to put, I didn't say that, but anyway, I told her to. First of all, she just took the leaf and put it on her face. I said, no, you need to chew it and then make a poultice out of it. And she did, and I don't know if it helped her or not, but you know, I was kind of happy to be able to have something right there at hand, right then and there, to help this lady who had just gotten stung. And I immediately went inside and I found a spray can of wasp spray, and I came out and I sprayed in that hole, and they came flying out too. But I'm hoping I got them, and I guess I only had a partial can. And I ended up using every bit I had in the can, so I need to go buy some more. That's one of those things you really need to have on your homestead, because there's going to be insects like that you're going to need to take care of. So there we go. I'm going back inside. It's hot. The sun has just come back out again. And but I wanted to show you. I wanted to show you the crepe myrtles. So y'all have a good day. I'm going in, gonna get something cool to drink because I'm getting kind of sweaty, and I don't have my garden hat on. So I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye, y'all.